Veterans Day ceremony. It's one of our highlights of the year and gives us an opportunity to recognize both our folks on campus and in the community. But I'm glad we've got this opportunity to recognize our veterans here. You know, as I'm sure you all know, Veterans Day started as a commemoration for the end of World War I, where the armistice was signed at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. About 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago, Connie Holoman and I were there. After Centenary in Paris finished, we took a couple of extra days and we went over to some of the area in eastern France of World War I, and including the Glade, as they call it, where the armistice was signed. And we also toured some of the area, and of course most of the battlefields have been reclaimed for farmland or whatever, but you do see some, including some of the big craters, and obviously they've got great museums, and so you can see the trench, work, and we've all seen some of that in the movies. And I've taught and studied World War I some, so I knew a little bit what to expect. But the combination of being there and seeing the cemeteries, you turn almost any corner and there's a little cemetery, and some of them are huge, some of them are just very small. And knowing that on that ground was the first truly modern war, and we saw the first tanks, the first significant use of airplanes. We saw things that had been used for peaceful purposes turn to killing. Barbed wire, something as simple as barbed wire, which had made the expansion into the west of the United States and the closing off of the prairies and so forth possible, was now an instrument of death. And I was there with my oldest brother and his wife, and at the time their son was, he's just finished his tour, but he was a Marine aviator. And so being there with someone whose child was in harm's way, and he had been deployed to the Mideast, it brought home this sense of sacrifice that all of our military make. Obviously, we have another day set aside to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Veterans Day is here for us to recognize the service of many of you who chose to make that sacrifice, to do that service. We've had, just because of the march of time, I think we're pretty much almost done, not quite having people actively working for us that were drafted. So the vast majority of you as veterans were volunteers. You stepped up on your own. And we can't thank you enough. And that's the point of this day. All of us are very grateful for that kind of leadership. And no matter what role you played in the military, even if you were the lowest of the low, you were a leader and still are a leader. And we thank you for that. I'm really proud to have the veterans we have on campus. I appreciate your service, and I hope you have a great day. I hope every day is great for you. Let me read off the list of our veterans. I know Connie has sent them around, but if you're here, I know not everybody's here, but if you're here, just wave your hand so everybody knows who you are. Mr. Robert Blue, Mr. Chris, yeah, sure. Mr. Chris Derrick, usually hanging out in the back. Catherine Hannon. One of our students, Jasmine Carroll. Another of our students I don't think is here, Jason Holler. Got 3 Marines. Yesterday was the anniversary of the Marines, 245th anniversary of the Marines. World War I at the Battle of Belleau Wood is when they acquired the name the Devil Dogs. So, Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
There you go. Leon Adams. Derek Jones. And one of our adjunct faculty, but also the son of one of the folks that works in this building, Michael Scarlato. Alan, and from the Army, the first group was Air Force, I should have said that. From the Army, Alan Berry. Arthur Henderson. Mr. Michael Mims. Mrs. Connie Whittington. And from the Navy is Mr. Floyd Freeman. Coach C.J. Selling from our lacrosse team. And we don't have anybody listed, just make sure you didn't leave them out, because sometimes I feel like they get kind of lost in the shuffle. Anybody from the Coast Guard that we should have recognized?
We've only had one employee who's been with the Coast Guard. She's not with us anymore.
Thank you for coming. Have some snacks. Enjoy. Thanks to Sodexo people for making the reception happen. Enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.